We read about the Meraglim, and the Torah tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu chose Anoshim. The reference to the Nesiim or Anoshim. So Rashi cites Chazal, Ksherim hoyu bosasho. They were proper Jews. However, the Midrash uses a much stronger term, Tzadikim hoyu bosasho. They were devoutly righteous. But yet we find when they returned, the Torah speaks about the return and the going. So Rashi cites Chazal there. What does the Torah speak about the going when we're speaking about the returning? When they returned with evil intent. They brought back ominous reports which were contrary to what Hashem wanted. So Rashi cites Chazal that we're associating the going to the returning, just as they returned with an evil intent when they went with an evil intent. So the obvious question is, how do we reconcile the two? Here it tells us when they originally had gone, they were Anoshim, Tzadikim ayu, they were devoutly righteous, and yet Chazal tell us later, through the association of Ayelchu ve'yashuvu, they returned, that the going was with the evil intent, as when they returned with evil intent. So the Rechaim HaKodesh, he established a phenomenal principle, and he explains that initially, Anoshim Tzadikim hoyu, they were devoutly righteous. However, since we have a principle of Shlich Shon Kamoso, that there's a linkage between the agent and the one who commissions the agent, that linkage causes that the agent should be affected by the position and the mindset of the one who he represents. Since Klal Yisrael themselves weren't strong in trust of Hashem at this point, and they're the ones who requested the Meraglim, the scouts, to see if the land is as what they suspected turned out to be, as they understood it was Eretz Ocheles Yoshveo. It's a land which devours its inhabitants, giants. It's impossible to survive the situation. So that level of doubt, lack of faith, affected the mindset of the Meraglim. So initially they were tzaddikim. It says Vayelchu. When did they become the agents? When they embarked. At the time of the embarkation, they were shluchim. They were the agents. The moment they became the agents, that linkage was created. Once that linkage was created, therefore, they were susceptible to this level. Of course, they had bechira, they had choice, but they were susceptible to this level of influence of what? Of the status of Klal Yisrael. So he says, just as we find that shlich shel also is l'ra, is with a negative, he says that it's no shluchi mitzvah. A person who goes as an agent of mitzvah, he's infused with a kedusha, he's imbued with a level of holiness and purity, because which he did not possess before he engaged in the shlichus shel mitzvah, before he engaged in the agency of mitzvah. So as we say in the negative, even more so, we say it in the positive. So it's interesting. So if a person goes, and especially if he represents a tzaddik, so he becomes imbued and he merits, although as an ordinary person, he has a limited level of siyata d'shmaya, but now that he's linked to the person who's worthy of greater siyata d'shmaya, and since he's going to fulfill that level of agency, it's a different dimension of siyata d'shmaya, because of the linkage between the person and the person who he's representing. Same idea. We read in Pirkei Avos, the Mishnah tells us that when a person goes to do a mitzvah, he should do it l'shem shamayim. Why? Because schus avoisa meseyatam. Because the schus of the avos assists the person to succeed in his what? In his mission, in his mitzvah mission. And you would think that since he couldn't succeed in his mission without the schus avos, since the Shiloh, there's a question what that means. Does it mean the schus of the community? Does it going back into avos HaKadoshim? There's a question what it means. But if you do it l'shem shamayim, you do it for the sake of God, then you merit a different siyata d'shmaya. It's schus avos m'sayatum. Then you're able to draw on the schus of the avos. And when it comes to accrediting the person's fully accredited as if it was his own merit, although he needed the combined merit of the avos so he should succeed in his mission, in his mitzvah mission. Why? Because since he's the one he chose to do it l'shem shamayim, that was his choice. He's the one who activated, who made that linkage to be able to draw, and therefore, as a result, if it was only due to him that he succeeded because he did it l'shem shamayim, therefore he's fully credited as if it all was his personal schus.